All right, let's talk about a tool that promises to solve one of the most frustrating hair problems imaginable, the dreaded split end. But does this thing actually work? Let's get into it.
Oh yeah, if you've ever tried to grow your hair out, you have definitely heard this terrifying warning from a stylist. It's that classic catch-22, right? You want to keep your length, but you're told you have to chop it off to get rid of the damage. It feels like you just can't win. And this is exactly where the electric split end trimmer comes in. The whole idea is that it's a device designed to target only the damaged bits, leaving all your healthy long hair completely untouched. Honestly, it sounds almost too good to be true, doesn't it? So, before we dive into this new gadget, let's just take a second and talk about what we're really up against here. What is this war on split ends all about? I mean, come on. Crispy like over-fried noodles? Does any description hit the nail on the head better than that? You know that feeling? The ends of your hair are just rough and dry and almost crunchy. And it doesn't matter how much serum or oil you throw at it, that over-fried noodle feeling just sticks around. So, into this fight comes this new tool, right? A specialized electric trimmer designed specifically for this problem. But what is it exactly, and how is it supposed to work?
Okay, so the most important thing to get is that this is not your average hair clipper. Nope. It's been engineered for one very specific job, to hunt down and snip off only those tiny, frayed, broken pieces, all while leaving your precious length alone.
Yeah, a good way to think about it is like a filter for your hair. As a section of hair passes through the machine, all the healthy, smooth strands just slide right on by. But those frayed, split ends that are sticking out, they get caught by the blades and snipped right off. It's basically selective damage control.
And the way you use it is actually pretty simple. You take a small, clean piece of hair, you feed it through the device, and you just slowly glide it down. The real magic here is that the little blades inside do all the work for you, taking all the guesswork, and, let's be real, the shaky hands, out of trying to snip those tiny split ends yourself with a pair of scissors.
Okay, so that's the theory. That's how it's supposed to work. But what we all really want to know is, what are the results? Does this thing actually deliver on its promise?
Well, for most people, the answer is a pretty big yes, although we do have some important exceptions to talk about in a minute. The immediate result that people notice is that polished, smooth feeling. I mean, when you get rid of all those scraggly bits, your hair not only feels softer, but it actually reflects light better, so it looks shinier. You can get that clean, just left the salon look, but, and this is the whole point, without losing your overall length.
And that, of course, brings us to the ultimate showdown. How does this new school tool really stack up against a good old-fashioned pair of scissors?
Looking at them side by side really makes the trimmer's advantage clear. See, it's designed only to remove the damage and keep the length. When you try to do it yourself with scissors at home, it's pretty much impossible to see every single split end, and you always end up cutting off healthy hair in the process. This tool automates the whole thing, giving you consistent results that are super hard to get on your own. It's just a much safer bet if you're terrified of losing length.
All right, so now it is time for a little reality check, because as cool as the results can be, it is absolutely crucial to understand what this tool is and what it isn't.
Okay, if you remember one thing from this whole explainer, let it be this. It's for maintenance, not a miracle. This tool isn't magically healing your hair. It can't glue split ends back together. You have to think of it as a maintenance gadget for trimming away that surface damage as it shows up, not as some kind of permanent cure.
So let's be super clear about what it can't do. If you've got splits that are traveling way up the hair shaft, or if your hair's just, completely fried from heat or color damage, this little tool isn't going to fix that. It's for tackling that early stage frizz and those surface splits. You are still going to need a proper haircut from a professional to deal with deep damage.
Really, the best way to think about it is as part of your regular routine, kind of like getting an oil change for your car. It's all about preventative maintenance. Using it every 4 to 6 weeks or so helps you keep those surface splits under control before they turn into a much bigger problem. So, okay, knowing what it can and can't do, how do you make sure you're getting the best possible results when you use it? Well, using it the right way is absolutely key. Let's walk through the steps.
Following this process is everything. Your hair has to be clean, dry, and totally tangled free for this to work. And the small sections are crucial. If you try to shove too much hair in there at once, it's just not going to do the job. You have to go slowly, make sure you use the right directional switch for each side of your head, and, this is important, always follow up with a good leave-in conditioner or oil to seal and protect those freshly trimmed ends.
So after all of that, we finally land on the big question. Is this tool actually for you? Should you go out and buy one?
Let's break down who this is really for, and who it's not.
So who is this for? Well, you're pretty much the perfect person for this tool if your main goal is just managing that surface frizz and those annoying ends so you can keep your length between salon visits. It's especially great if you love DIY hair care and have medium to long hair that's on the straighter or wavier side.
But on the flip side, who is this not for? Honestly, you should probably skip it if your hair needs a major heavy-duty intervention. Like we said, it is not a repair kit, and it's definitely not a one-and-done solution. If you're not willing to do the regular maintenance every month or so, you're probably just going to end up disappointed.
Now, we have to talk about a really important note for tightly coiled hair, like types 4B and 4C. Here's the challenge. The coils don't always lie flat and align neatly inside the trimming chamber, so there's a risk that the tool could miss the splits or, worse, even tug and snag on your strands. Now, one workaround is to stretch or straighten your hair on low heat first, but to be perfectly honest, the classic search and destroy method, where you manually find and snip individual splits with scissors, is often a much better and more effective option.
So when it all comes down to it, that's really the decision you have to make. This tool isn't here to replace your stylist. It's designed to give you a bit more control in the weeks between appointments. It's a trade-off, really. A little bit of routine maintenance at home in exchange for getting to keep the length you've worked so hard for. So the final question for you is, for your hair and your goals, is that a trade you're willing to make?